Guy channel. The Car Guy channel. My name is Mike Hennessy. This show is all about cars and all four car guys. Get yourself a cold beer. Get yourself a cold beer, guys, because our show is... We are smoking! I'm Mike Hennessy, and you're watching the Car Guy channel. I have an auto repair shop. I've been in the business for over 30 years. You name it, we got it, we built it, we've done it, we do it. We love this car stuff, and I hope you guys do too. We're gonna have a lot of fun, got a lot of stuff cooking, so just stay tuned.
You know you make me wanna shout, kick my heels up and shout, throw my hands up and shout, throw my hands back and shout. Come on now, don't forget to see you win. Don't forget to see you.
Welcome to the Car Guy channel. I got all sorts of stuff going on. New news, big news, high news, fat news, you kind of name it. We got it going on. I got two, and I mean two spectacular and totally different cars on the show today. And both of them begin with the letter F. You're gonna love all these stuff. Hey, I got projects going all the time. We're gonna go ahead and take you through the shop this year, coming into the summer season, of projects that we're building. We got this one special project. We had nicknamed it called the 7-liter. Jay Leno happens to have one. A good buddy of mine, Roger, went ahead and he wants to go ahead and build it, and he basically said, there are no rules. This car's got to get done. You're gonna see that we went ahead and took the body off the frame. We painted the frame on this car, custom build everything all the way around it, the brake system, and I'm telling you, POR 15 on all the parts everywhere. The frame's done in Emron. We reinstalled the body, and now we're taking care of some of the rust issues before we get this car here painted up. We're going to show you a few little clips of this thing because I'm telling you, it's absolutely one of the most funnest projects I've ever done, and I'm really glad Roger turned out to be a pretty good friend of mine, and I'm telling you, we're having a lot of fun building it and a lot of stuff doing. But hey, there's a couple things we got going on. Hey, don't be touching any of these trucks. Don't touch that dial. Get yourself a cold one, sit down, and you're going to watch a fantastic show.
You know you make me wanna shout, hey, yeah, shout, oh, alright, shout, hey, yeah, shout, oh, alright, shout, come on now, shout, come on now, shout, oh, alright, shout, oh, alright, shout, oh, alright.
We don't have Car of the Week, we have Ferrari of the Week. We had quite a few Ferraris on the show. I've been starting to kind of dabble and collect into a little bit of these. I happened to pick this up through a really good friend. Phone call, how the stuff goes, put a deal together, and I've always loved this body style. This body style in this car has only been out since 1993 all the way to 2002, so this is not an old body style, but it is long-lasting with Ferrari. Ferrari kept their body styles for quite a long time. This particular model is called a 456 GTA. We're going to break down the 456 GTA all through the show to give you guys more of what this car here is all about. I'm trying to bring in cars that you don't see every day. And I'm telling you, a front V12 engine 456 GTA is a car you do not see on the road all the time because they only made 3,200 cars in the amount of 11 years. And they only made 468 of this particular model. I got to show you some stuff about this car that I think you're going to be pretty impressed. Some people said Ferrari only designed cars so they can sell them to the public to actually support their racing habit. And believe it or not, there's a very low production car, they're an expensive automobile, but their design is way, way over and above a lot of manufacturers all through the world. No one's ever really figured out a way to weld aluminum and steel together. Ferrari kind of came up with a product called Veyron. Veyron is a product that goes, it's almost like a sealer that goes in between the aluminum and a steel plate, able to fuse it and weld it together so it actually holds. That's how the Ferrari body is actually built. The hood is carbon fiber and the fenders are aluminum with a tubular chassis frame. And the way to connect all this stuff here, it's all welded together with Ferrari. When they put these engines in, they designed an engine that is a V12. This particular motor is 5.5 liters. If you guys figure that out, put it in cubic inch, put your calculator, see what you can do. 5.5 liters. Give you a little bit of a rough idea. It's about 350 cubic inch on a V12. Now, on a V12 motor, they can have all sorts of degrees. Like a Chevy motor has a V, Ford motors have a V. Actually, Ford motors are kind of a tighter V. To get to the V part of this, the V12 on this car is actually a 65-degree V12 engine. And not to confuse you, the early Ferraris were actually 60 degrees in V12s. Now, the V in the mark is how long a motor lasts. You see the performance, all the stuff goes on. These are very, very desirable, very dependable, and it's probably one of the best driving and handling Ferraris on the market to make it a road car. Hey, let's get under the hood of this bad boy, and I will show you what the 456 means. Okay there, guys, there's going to be a test at the end of the show on what the 456 means. The 456, some people thought that meant because the car was a 4-passenger that you can go 4 on the front number, and the 6 and the 4 is determining on the performance of the automobile. That's not totally true. The 456 on this motor stands for cubic centimeters inside the cylinder. So when they go 456, that's the cubic centimeters of inside the cylinder of this particular V12. Now, the GTA stands for, this is a GT Gran Turismo car, but the A means automatic. They made very low production of these, and they're very rare and very desirable. You think an automatic and a Ferrari could be very boring. I'm going to tell you, we're going to take you for a test drive later, and I'm going to show you it's not a boring car to drive at all. This is the most luxury car I've ever really driven that's in a high-performance car. The car goes 190 miles an hour. 190 miles an hour. And 0 to 100, not 0 to 60, 0 to 100, this car here does it in 5.5 seconds. Now tell me, if that's a good family car, I don't know what to tell you. But when Ferrari put these engines together, they're the motor king of the world. And you can see that it has dual mass flow sensors on the sides with the large V12 plenum. This is a Bosch maintenance motor system, which means, in layman's term, it's Bosch fuel injected on the car. And you can see how all this is all put together, and they have dual air cleaners for these. And of course, it's a twin dual overhead cam. Now, just to let you know, this is a 4-valve per cylinder engine. So being a V12, dual overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, this motor is absolutely way, way, way more smoother than almost anything on the market. And the performance on it is absolutely spectacular. Hit the pedal, it's like driving an electric automobile. If you notice, you'll see a cap over here. This right here is for the power steering cap. This is actually all solid billet aluminum when you take these here off. There's no plastic stuff. Ferrari's such a very, very well-built and well-designed car. But one thing about Ferrari, they're very proud of their name. You'll see it on everything, everywhere, all about, even on the caps, on the air cleaners, on the plenums, and you will see the word Ferrari pretty much about everywhere, even on the top of the radiator. Now, the first year Ferrari brought in a thing called hideaway headlights, flipper lights, what some people call them over in Europe. This particular car actually has flipper hideaway headlights. When the hood closes, they're mounted right, and they flush right around the whole complete hood and contour the body of the car. In 2003 was pretty close to the last year they actually started using hideaway headlights. All the rest of them are fixed on the automobile. A lot of the Ferrari performance cars, they are known for the wing-style rearview mirrors. They contour the body of the car, and they're the company that came out originally and figured the Testarossa has a real long set. They're pretty much about almost 14 inches from actually the door to the outside of the car. They really want this car to have vision. These cars are really designed to run on a track if that's what you really wanted to do, and they designed that into a car. Designed it into a car that can be driven as what they call the businessman's Ferrari. I think they look spectacular. Ferrari don't put nothing on a car like some auto manufacturers do that actually have a function. Ferrari puts anything in their design is always for a function. Nothing's done as a mock-up or a look-alike, or that's the way it should be. And a lot of cars it's done. Some European cars don't do that. Ferrari and European cars do things strictly for a function. Some American cars, Japanese cars will put scoops in the side of a car. When they put them on here, these actually draw in air, and there's an actual purpose for this. On this door panel, you're going to see everything here is all solid leather. Everything's covered in leather. And this right here is 2 different color tones of interior. This here is a black leather, and this right here is a kind of a real dark gray silver. And you're going to notice the double French stitching. It's stitched in the very center, stitched on the outsides, on both sides, and these right here are pulled, and the way they put the material on it goes over the pieces that they're going to adhere to. They're done with total class and total quality. You know, being a coupe automobile, when the window actually comes up and seals along the actual body, you're going to see this is a one seal. This steel here goes all the way around the whole complete opening of the door jamb. So when the door closes, it seals to there. When the window comes up, it seals. When you're going 180 miles an hour down the road, you do not have any wind noise in this car. This car here has all the amenities of any luxury automobile. Figure like with power seats. And these seats are extremely comfortable. And you're going to notice that everything in the whole car is always covered and it's always sealed in leather. You'll see the dash is done the same way. It's done in 2-tone different color leathers, and everything is completely done. The dash is all done with French stitching again all the way around in a black leather. Take a look at the coach work on the center console. It's absolutely stunning. It's user-friendly. This is the most easiest car to operate in the world. This right here is a solid billet Shifter for the automatic. This here's an aluminum plate. Very easy to identify what gears you're in. Radio's right here for user-friendly for your fingertips. Every single knob you need to use on this car up here is all along this whole row. You got the power windows on the right and left. Everywhere you need to go to operate the car. Air conditioning is in the center. And I'm telling you, what a user-friendly automobile. And again, notice everything is covered in leather. These seats are so well made, you actually have a 2-point seat belt that this is mounted actually to the back of the seat, not the body of the car. So when you need to put the seat belt on, it goes right across. They're extremely comfortable for wearing seat belts. But I'm telling you, have it on the back of the seat, you can just tell that this seat right here is going to save you and hold you in position on a car like this. These are Ferrari alloy wheels, and if you notice, the prancing horse is always going to be in the center of this with these chrome-plated lug nuts. Use a special socket to go ahead and remove these. There's a special torque. Believe it or not, these don't go on that tight. Not tight as you'd really think. It's probably about 60 foot-pounds to hold these rims on the car. They look absolutely beautiful on it, and I think it'd be just kind of a sin to change them. These are one type of car that look just as good coming at you as they do going away. Look at the back end of this car. The synonymous Ferrari large rear round taillights on it look absolutely spectacular. And I say it all the time when we see cars with the rear valance when the exhaust comes out. And Ferrari just seems to do it absolutely spectacular with the stainless steel tips coming out of the back of the car. It's totally designed in the back panel because it is part of the way the car looks and it's part of the performance the car has. But where the Europeans really excel is in their paperwork, in their trunk, and all the detail items. The toolkit comes into a leather custom-made bag. All the information about the car in 4 languages is all inside the back of the Ferrari. There's a lot of areas that make cars safe and a lot of areas that make cars quiet. Safety, of course, they actually have the third light mounted in the top of the deck lid underneath the bottom end of the rear glass. You can see the rear glass of the car flows with the complete roof line of it. This right here is just seamless. When wind comes over here, there's no chrome stripping of any type. Strictly just like aviation and aircraft items, you know, they really would take off rivets to bring up speed and whatnot. Well, we don't need to bring up speed to this particular car, but it's the airfoil that goes across the back of it and flows along the line, and there's nothing obstruction in the car, and this right here will create any wind noise that would possibly be inside the automobile. Ferrari goes through a lot of efforts and a lot of times to do that, and I think they did one heck of a job with this car. What I really like about this body design is a lot like the 375 GTB. It is one of my most favorite cars. I was asked, what is my most favorite car in the world? Of all time was the 375 GTB. Beautiful automobile. The color was Ferrari Fly Yellow, and that's a car that always stuck in my mind. So unaffordable for a guy like me. Those cars are in the millions. This is the closest I could do to get to one. I'm telling you, I'm not disappointed in the way this car runs and drives, and I'm telling you, if you ever have the chance, you ever have the opportunity, and you get a chance to buy one, I say get one picked up. National Parts Warehouse has merged with Winchester Auto Parts. Yes, they both have merged into a huge warehouse. I can't even tell you how large this place is. Now, you guys have mixed with Speed Warehouse. Is that correct? Tell me how that works.
That's correct. We have a joint venture with Speed Warehouse right now, and they're allowing us to operate our business within their warehouse on a wholesale basis. And this way we get 80,000 square feet of parts from the warehouse to the store, and it's expedited. Our turnaround time on these is less than an hour to get parts from the warehouse to the store. So if you're a retail customer, you get your parts right away. If you're a wholesale customer, it's delivered to your door instantly.
So my customer, a guy at your shop, Mr., people I think be watching this, a guy walks to the counter, Mr. Joe Blow, he orders that part. You guys can get that here in the Bay Area because you are joined up.
Absolutely.
So our end user, like guys like myself, the guy at home, everybody wins and benefits from this, don't they?
Absolutely. This is the new landscape for auto parts now. If people want tangible goods in hand, and this is the way we provide it. This is the service that Winchester puts out for our customer.
What is this warehouse going to do to help your business?
This warehouse actually is going to make hopefully the delivery a lot quicker, efficient, which let my guys do their job without waiting on parts. And the faster they get there, the quicker we get the cars back to the customer. Everybody's happy.
If I have an old school where there's not computer catalog,
yeah,
I always get Winchester because other parts guys, they don't know what they're talking about.
They don't know it. Well, I'll tell you one thing. That's what we need when we go to shop. We need these guys to know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Your staff is kind of what makes Winchester Auto Parts work. And I'm not saying that because I buy my parts from you, but I don't know of too many auto parts stores that actually have, educated, talented guys who knows what they're doing than Winchester Auto Parts. All your stores do. I bought
Thanks
some
for
guys here.
noticing.
Well, I think the public needs to know, but you guys train your guys. You just don't get a guy that just says, I know how to change oil, and you put him behind the counter.
From car guy to car guy, you hit the nail on the head. Our employees are all car guys. They didn't just come to do a job. They came here because they're car guys, and this is their passion. This is their interest. This is what they do. And when you walk up to the counter at a Winchester store or you call them on the phone, those are professionals answering your questions. And these guys have been doing it for years. They know the answers, and if they don't have the answer, they know how to find that answer for you.
Tino's old records off the shelf. I sit and listen to her mama say, today's music ain't got the same soul. I like that old time of rock and roll. Don't try to take me to a disco. And never even get me out on the floor. In 10 minutes I'll be late for the door. I like that old time of rock and roll.
We had so many calls, so many conversations about the truck that we had on the show last week, the 1951 Ford truck that I actually got out of a collection. The truck's name is Daisy May. But we happen to talk about a 1940 truck. And if you look at this front end really quite a bit, you're going to think of Mercury. You're going to think of Lincoln. You're going to think of Zephyr. Yes, it was a European design that Edsel Ford kind of worked with. So the whole front of this car, the whole design really is because of all the work and hard work that Edsel Ford did to create this. He brought a lot to the automotive world, and this happens to be one of the designs that really came from the designs from Edsel Ford. Now, on a 1944, this is not your everyday 1940 Ford pickup. This is a 1940 Ford street rod pickup. This right here is V8'd with a Chevy 350. Automatic transmission, you got power steering, you got power brakes, we got air conditioning. It has it all. Unfortunately, when you get cars that are home built, they always have some sort of idiosyncrasies that need to be attacked. We went through the steering column on this and found some wires rubbing and a few other things that created some starter problems and other things. But we're getting this thing here dialed in, and today we have it dialed in, and that's why it's on the show. Hey, let's take you underneath this thing and show you this bad boy. You can see that this Chevy 350 is literally shoehorned underneath the hood of this car. These only came with two engines. They came with a small 6-cylinder and they came with a V8. Now the V8s that came, the flatheads, they were only 85 horsepower. And so when you go ahead and put one of these motors in there, this motor here is cranking pretty much about 290 horsepower on a Chevy 350. It's kind of pumped up with a big fat Holley 4-barrel. We got dual exhaust. We got air conditioning, which is a total must for these. And of course, we have the chrome alternator with a single wire. It keeps the charging system working really, really nice. And of course, down at the bottom, hard to see, but you have power steering. Makes this car a very drivable and functional car. Vintage air is a really good item to put in these hoses. This right here is for the high pressure side. This is the low pressure side. I don't want to say it's an easy installation, but it's a clean installation. And they have it set up nowadays for kits that don't really make it too difficult to do if you guys doing it at home. Our shop installs probably about maybe 3 to maybe 4 a month, so we do quite a bit of the air conditioning installations. You can see the fuel line going into this 4-barrel Holley. Now this right here is a 4-barrel Holley on a quadrajet type manifold, which is a spread bore, which means the two rear barrels are larger than the front two barrels, called a quadrajet. Very popular. A lot of automobiles use this style of carburetor designed for quadrajets and, of course, thermal quads and whatnot. But the carburetor, the reason I mention it is the way the angles, it goes sideways into the front of the carburetor instead of just a nut that goes straight on in like some other model cars have. But the reason why I'm pointing this out, this is a custom fuel line that we made. And the fuel line has to be custom bent all the way around to go down to the fuel pump. And there's some attention to detail where they don't do, and it comes into safety, is all it had was just a barb fitting with just a regular rubber hose going down to there. This right here is the reservoir to go ahead and fill the power steering, which is really kind of a neat idea because you fill it right up here, always keeps it in there, and the type of pump it has, it's a real small pump to fit inside these close quarters, and that's a good idea. There's all sorts of Saginaw pumps to get. This was a good idea, and again, that showed me these people here who originally built this took a little bit of time to do it right. The chrome on these are absolutely spectacular. The top of the stainless steel strip on the top to the heavy, heavy solid steel metal here that's chrome plated. It's embossed with the Ford emblem. This right here is integrated with the hood ornament. When you go ahead and release for the hood, that's how you open up the hood of the car. These right here, these lights are absolutely just very vintage and very cool. And on the top of these lights, it has embossed in Ford, and it has a really neat deco look, like the clamshell look. You got to check that out. Now, 1940 trucks, the 40 and 41 were the last year of this type of covering over the lens. Very deco look with all the chrome stripes inside here. I think it gives it a really good texture, and it's a whole good look. They really put a lot of design when they put this thing here together. It looks absolutely spectacular. The chrome is great on here, and it looks really good. Turn signals are built right in the top here. I think the wheel choice on this was absolutely spectacular. The choice, to me, it's the retro look. This right here is really neat. This right here is a kind of a tan off-white color. And of course, look at all the ribs that are inside these little derby wheel covers. And I think they're just really neat. And go ahead and have the trim rings on the outside. So with hubcaps, trim covers, the trim color inside there, it gives it a great retro look. Again, to show the quality of how this vehicle here was built, the first thing I check in a lot of cars is the body welting. This right here is a leather stripping that has a cord in it, and it actually adheres this here and that together. Is what it does. It doesn't really seal it. It kind of seals it, but it keeps the vehicle a lot quieter because things do move around quite a bit. When you guys see how the body, everything is all rounded and curved, and this right here is protruded out, and this right here is an indentation, and it's a good idea to go ahead and do the detail striping when you do it. The striper looked like he did a great job. You can tell all this done by hand. There's no tape, which I really admire quite a bit on a car of this caliber. And you're going to have the paint line straight all the way up in here, and you got this in the inside. I think it looks spectacular. I want you guys here to notice the rubber that goes along the side of this door jamb all the way down to the bottom. It's done extremely well with the right type of rubber, the right thickness, and the right width. And if you notice the way it's cut here, it meets it when it comes on the top up there on the top. This is a really good idea to do, and this right here goes all the way around the whole complete front of it. That right there, door jambs itself. You can open up a door to a car and you can tell how well it's built. This is no 1940 Ford steering wheel or center column. This right here has tilt, and as your turn signals up here, you have the small billet steering wheel. It does have the Ford emblem on the inside. This right here is a leather grip on the side of the steering wheel. It looks absolutely spectacular. And the steering column was painted as the same color as the vehicle, you know, kind of the tomato red. It looks just great. It has cruise control built into it with your tilting knob. And what I think is kind of neat, they still left the same knobs for the headlights and all the little amenities that go on to the dash. But you can see the gauges have been replaced and upgraded with some high-end stuff. It's all VDO stuff. Now notice I call that right there the knee knocker. That's a knee knocker vintage air conditioning unit that bolts underneath the dash. Small cab, it gets cool really fast. You probably don't use it a lot. And all the chrome knobs and the vents, it just gives it a great look above the small little tiny glove box that could probably only hold a pair of gloves. Now the stick shift lever, now those are absolutely really spectacular. A company that sells those called Locar. And Locar sells that particular setup, and it works really nice for park, reverse, neutral, drive, drive 1, drive 2. And you got everything set up on there, makes it real easy to put in, makes it a really nice setup, and it gives it that real original retro look. Makes a big difference on the car. The beds of these trucks can make them and break them, and I'm telling you, when you have the wood in them all redone and laid in there, now these really didn't come with wood, so a lot of guys made a lot of different concessions on what to do in the back of these. This right here is a solid oak piece with the stainless steel stripes, and what I think is kind of an interesting place to put the battery's put in the back. It wouldn't have been my normal choice, but again, where do you put the battery? Now these bars right here, these are support bars for the tonneau cover. Now it's a kit you can buy. Not all the vehicles have them, not all of them need it. I highly recommend them because when any water gets on them, and especially in the center, they create a large sag. These bars right here, this is done with a teak wood, and these right here hold up keep the weight off it, and when they're going down the road, it keeps them nice and flush, and it's a really cool way to go. 40 cars happen to be some of my very, very favorite cars of the era. They really had these big, long, fat, round fenders that gives it that 40s look. Look at the way this thing right here drapes, literally drapes over the back tire, and it kind of teardrops in the back here. I think it has a great look, very vintage, very 40s, and this is in spectacular condition because to get a ding or a dent out of here is very difficult. Now these taillights are a little bit on the small side. I always like a third light, add something else to make some safety on it, because these are pretty small for regular routine round town driving. But it has the purple or the blue light in the very center. A lot of police cars used them. And of course, they really were outlawed at one time, but people reproduce them and resell them. And I haven't heard of anybody being pulled over for one in a long time. Things I like, again, always talk about the attention to detail. This has a plastic covering over the license plate. Chrome feature around here. It has a license plate light. Again, safety item, and it really does add a lot to the vehicle. You got a chrome bumper in the back. We discussed earlier, a lot of them were painted, not all of them were chrome. The barrettes, put the red markings in here. It just gives it the good design. So for 1940 truck, I actually think this is spectacular. Being a street rod, it's even better than the way the original ones were. Depends on what your flavor is or what you kind of like. You can't go wrong with a 1940 truck.
Well, you can rock and you can roll and you can stop and even stroll it.
Hot San Jose Nights this year is going to be at Reed Hillview Airport. I'm telling you guys and gals, this is going to be absolutely one fantastic event. The neat part about the event, it's free to the public. We're trying to pull off a lot of free events for the public to come to and to be able to go to Reed Hillview Airport and see all the stuff going on. The show's all about charity, which we're going to be having over 200 booths of all the STEM from students all over the state of California. And of course, we have all sorts of some of our great quality vendors and bands. We have 3, maybe 4 top local bands going to play all day long. So come with some of the arts today and some of the aviation that we got going on, and of course all the cars. The show's going to be featuring this year the Mustang. Yes, the Mustang. We are definitely featuring the 50 years of Mustang. Mustang hit the market big back in 1964 and a half. We got to throw that half mark in there. But this is the year of the celebration for the car. We're inviting all Mustangs, and take a look at this award. We had a special plaque completely made out of resin. It weighs over a pound. It's about 6.5 inches by 7.5 inches. It's absolutely spectacular. There's a mount on it. You can keep it on the table, the counter, your office, or hang it on the wall. Every Mustang owner that fills out an application, every Mustang participant guy gets this award coming to the show. Planes going to be flying in and out all day, all the cars, and even the regular cars. Cars that are coming to get involved in this event. Yes, I got an award for you guys too. Look at the snapshot of the award. You're going to see exactly what we're going to be handing out. Mustangs. We have a separate area strictly designed for you guys. Get your Mustangs out there. Get them down to the show because we had a lot of things happen. Let's check out a couple of our items here. From Ferraris to Ford trucks, I hope you enjoyed the show. We tried to bring in 2 combos this time, get a lot of cards and letters. They want to see more cars. They want to see different stuff. I think we covered that bill today. We got all sorts of new news coming up and all sorts of neat, exciting things. Hot San Jose Nights coming up this year here over at Reed Hillview Airport. It's going fantastic. All sorts of neat stuff. And I really hope you enjoy the show seeing these 2 cars. Any cars you guys got, you want to get them on the Car Guy channel, get a hold of me, www.carguychannel.com. Get your car in there. Let's check it out. Let's get it on the show. Hey, live life well, stay safe out there, and God bless you all.
Rock and roll.